Hi, I'm Tommy Geis, Massachusetts Youth Soccer Assistant Technical Director. On behalf of Mass Youth Soccer, I would like to welcome you to the U.S. Soccer Grassroots D-License Preparation webinar. The purpose of this webinar is to walk you through the course requirements and guide you towards the documents that will help you be successful on your journey to becoming a D-License coach. So, without further ado, let's help you get ready for the D-License course. The U.S. Soccer National D-License is a 40 to 45-hour course held over 2 weekends at a minimum 4 weeks apart, designed for the grassroots coach who meets the prerequisites outlined below. The focus of this course is to facilitate the improvement of you, the coach, in the 6 tasks of a coach across all 4 game models, 4 versus 4, 7 versus 7, 9 versus 9, and 11 versus 11. With a particular emphasis on coaching training sessions. Coaches that register for this course are expected to attend both meetings. There are a few steps which need to be completed prior to registering for the D-License. First, which most of you have completed if you have taken any of the grassroots courses, is completing the Introduction to Grassroots Coaching. This is a brief online presentation which will introduce you to the grassroots format. Next, you must complete one online course, either the 4 versus 4, 7 versus 7, 9 versus 9, or 11 versus 11. If you have taken the U.S. Soccer Online F license and have proof of completion, this will count towards your online requirements. Then, 2 in-person courses must be completed. These can be courses you have already taken online. However, one of the 2 in-person courses must be the 11 versus 11 course. Anyone who has completed their U.S. Soccer E-license is also eligible to go straight into the D-license. So to recap, in order to be eligible for the D-License, 1 online grassroots course, or the F-License, plus 2 in-person courses, one of which must be the 11 versus 11 in-person course, or you have already completed your E-License. Once your registration is complete and the course is approaching, there are 3 assignments that must be completed prior to attending the first day of the course. First is the Introduction to Safe and Healthy Playing Environments. Next is the 2020 Safe Sport Training. And finally, the first of 3 submissions of the Performance Wheel. Let's briefly review each of these. With all the concern of head injuries and return to play, the Recognize to Recover online presentation provides valuable information on how to recognize signs of concussion and guidelines to follow before permitting players to participate in training and games again. By no means will this make us experts in head injuries, but learning and practicing these methods will make a safer environment for your players. Not only do we have to consider the risk of physical injury as coaches, we must also recognize the emotion or psychological influences we have. The mental demand of sports and competing can be increased exponentially when bullying occurs or adults add undue pressure or inappropriate comments to the players. The Safe Sport Training helps us recognize and be more aware of how powerful the words of adults are and how we can help make the environment more enjoyable by ensuring all participants are following acceptable, agreed upon team behaviors. The Performance Wheel is the first step on the path to coaching self-efficacy. Completing the Performance Wheel will help you to identify your areas of strength and growth based on the 6 tasks of a coach. This will be completed in the Excel format, then uploaded as an assignment. The performance wheel asks you to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 on each task of a coach, referencing the documents provided in the Learning Center. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything. We will be discussing the documents next. Please remember, this must be completed as an Excel file and submitted. Once the scores have been added, a pretty cool graphic will be displayed to the right, which gets even better once you have completed the second and third performance wheels throughout the course. As previously mentioned, the course also provides documents for you to use as references. These documents are provided to help guide you through the course, and when your peer leader provides feedback, they will often reference one of the documents below. First is a D-License Candidate Resource Packet. You will also find the U.S. Soccer Grassroots Roadmaps. Followed by the Player Development Framework and the Course Guide. Let's take a look at each document. The first document is a D-License Candidate Resource Packet. This document may seem overwhelming, but it includes all the documents mentioned previously and what is needed throughout the course. Included in the resource packet are blank lesson plans and sample lesson plans for use during the course. These session plans cannot be used to complete assignments, but will provide much needed examples of the format for lesson plans. The next document is the U.S. Soccer Grassroots Roadmaps. Anyone who has taken a grassroots course online or in person has seen the roadmaps. The roadmaps have been created to help provide an observational structure for the game, based on the moments of the game, whether attacking, defending, or the moments in between, the constants which occur while attacking or defending, and the variables which impact the player's decisions. The roadmaps will be used throughout each day of the course and is a very useful document for you during the development period. This is why U.S. Soccer has taken this document from the D-License Candidate Resource Packet and copied it as a separate document for ease of reference. The next content cornerstone is the Player Development Framework. This has also been copied from the D-License Candidate Resource Packet for ease of referencing. This document helps identify where most players are during their soccer development pathway in the 3 domains of developmental psychology: cognitive, physical, and psychosocial. It outlines what should be taught to younger players and where we can layer in more information based on the child's development goals and needs, what makes sense in their mind, and how it relates to the player's understanding of the game. The fourth document, which is also available in both the D-License Candidate Resource Package and independently, is the Course Guide. This document provides general information of the course as well as definitions of the 6 tasks of a coach within the profile of a coach. Starting from page 14, each assignment is outlined with expectations and guidelines for completion. The Grassroots D-License is divided into segments. We just spent the last few minutes discussing the pre-course assignments and their supporting documents. Now we have to consider the following. In-person time commitment. What is expected of you regarding your time? Field sessions, which include participation from candidates as players, coaches, and active observers. Don't worry, active observers will be explained soon. The developmental period. This is a time between course meeting 1 and course meeting 2. And the 2 weeks post-course. after the conclusion of meeting 2. The in-person portion of the course is conducted over 2 weekends. Both weekends include class and or field time on Friday evening and most of the day on Saturday and Sunday. Expect to be in the course for 4 hours on Friday and close to 11 hours on Saturday and Sunday. The times are included in the schedule provided prior to the course, but as is usual, all times are tentative and subject to change. Changes that can occur, as an example, daylight for field sessions depending upon the time of the year, availability of players, and use of both classroom and field facilities that could impact the daily schedule. Please keep in mind that participation in all classroom and field time is mandatory. Leading up to the course, it's helpful to reach out to your assistant coach and director of coaching if you have one to make them aware and help with any scheduling conflicts. Please check both dates for the meeting 1 weekend and meeting 2 weekend to ensure you do not have major scheduling conflicts such as family events, scheduled workdays, or soccer events which could force you to miss part or all of the weekend. In the past, candidates have been concerned about their limited playing experience or injuries when it comes time to play. I can assure you that whether you are a former pro player or have never played in your life, your playing ability will not make or break you in the course. However, your willingness to participate can. Participation has many roles. There are only 2 instances where coaches have to play during meeting 1, on Friday night for the live roadmaps presentation, and Saturday morning during the live methodology presentation. For these 2 sessions, the candidates who are not playing will be observing and making notes to better provide feedback or to better understand how the grassroots roadmaps are used as an observational structure. During the remainder of the field sessions, you will be the coaches, coaching youth players. This tends to be a slower process, but all coaches will still have different roles. The coach who is assigned to coach will conduct a portion of his or her training session. Each coach will have a peer partner. Your partner will work with you at the end of your session to go through some reflective practice by guiding you through feedback. The remainder of the coaches will try to collect specific data to help with feedback to hand into the performing coach. During the transitions from one coach's session to the next, all coaches are encouraged to help the presenting coach set up the field. If you are asked to help set up, please promptly assist based on the setup of the coach's lesson plan. Avoid offering suggestions to the coach that could have a negative impact on their session. The more coaches help with the process, the smoother and more efficient the field sessions will be. During course meeting 1, you'll get a chance to experience how all the previously discussed documents work in tandem with each other to provide the framework for the profile of a grassroots coach. The building blocks presentation will explain what is meant by a player-centered approach by addressing the basic needs of children and building up from that starting point to ending at player development as each block is added to the pathway. The journey you are about to undertake should be approached with the same building block approach. Where do we come from and where are we going next? And how this is all connected will become clearer as you continue through the course. Also during the course, each candidate will establish a peer partner. The partners may be assigned or agreed upon. Throughout the course, including the development period, the partners are required to stay in touch and be a resource to assist with the planning of session plans as well as guidance for assignments. In coursework during meeting 1, candidates will work in small groups to collaborate and present to the larger group their findings, creations, and provide feedback using the roadmaps and player development framework. You will observe video, collect factual data, and create the training session plans that you will use with your players during the field session. Working groups are either partner, groups of 3, 4, or 6, and up to a maximum of 12 to allow for all participants to share in the conversations. These groups will rely on cooperation and agreement during the discussions in order to present to the larger group the shared thoughts of their smaller group. Remember, being on time for all field and classroom sessions is a reflection on participation. After meeting 1, there's a 4 to 12-week period of time for you to take your course meeting 1 experiences to your home environment and complete the remainder of the assignments with your team. Remember, you are required to stay in touch with your peer partner. There are a total of 12 assignments which must be completed with deadlines for each. If assignments are not completed by the deadline, the candidate is at risk of being marked as unsatisfactory and may have to retake the course in its entirety. However, let's not dwell on the negatives though. The due dates are posted in the Learning Center in advance of the course, and it's important for the coaches to note them in their calendar and stay diligent with completing them. Some will take longer than others. The Learning Center will provide you with your resources, dates, and be our vehicle for communicating with you throughout the course. There are also candidate needs that will be addressed in an upcoming slide, but to assist a candidate with the course requirements, we strongly urge candidates to communicate with their peer partner on a regular basis. If you have any questions along the way, please reach out to your peer leader. Communication through email, webinars, and phone calls will happen regularly during this period. Let's discuss the assignments. Each assignment has a due date, which must be met. First, there is submission 2 of 3 of the performance wheel. Next assignment, using formations, D-License 2020. Creating a game plan. Creating a 2-week periodization plan. Using the planning tool in the Learning Center to create a training session. Leading the team. Leading the player. Hosting a parent meeting. Creating a second training session, which will be used during meeting 2. And creating your personal development plan. There are assignments that will take longer than others. For example, assignment 6.1 is hosting a parent meeting. Organizing a group of parents for a meeting may not seem too daunting, but the time needed to plan, facilitate, and host, and then reflect can all add up. How will the coach inform, involve, and inspire the parents? This is one assignment that will take more planning than just a general informative meeting sometimes held at the beginning of a season. Assignments 3.2 and 3.3, you will have to create 2 lesson plans from scratch using the planning tool in the Learning Center. Learning to use the planning tool effectively will take some time. With all assignments, remember to review the course guide for expectations and course resources for templates associated with assignments 1.1, 2.2, 4.1, 5.1, and 6.1. When a template is available, it must be used and all questions or comments reflected on with detail. Time management, planning, and staying on top of your assignments is in your best interest. Many times, after submitting an assignment, coaches are placed in revision request. This is your peer leader usually asking for more detail. Do not be alarmed. Most candidates experience revision requests during this period. It's simply asking you to review your peer leader's feedback and add additional detail as requested. You are only permitted to be placed in revision request a maximum of 2 times, so please review the peer leader's notes and reach out to your peer leader through the Learning Center Communication tab with questions if any comments are not clear. All information for the course is available in the Learning Center, including the documents and templates. By visiting the Course Resource tab, then clicking on Lecture Resource or Field Resource, many of your questions can be answered. All documents can be found in these 2 areas and will prove to be your lifelines. Much of your development time will be spent in the Planning tool. At the top of the page, look for the drop-down menu under Planning. Scroll over Planning, and the Graphics, Training Exercises, Training Session, or Calendar options will drop down. Select Training Sessions. Then select Create New. While creating your plans, questions will arise. In the upper right-hand corner, you will find a tab called Learn to Use the Planning Tool. This has answers to many commonly asked questions along with video on how to complete the different tasks. When creating a training session, make sure this toggle tab is moved to Grassroots instead of Standard. Grassroots comes out blue and Standard shows red. When this tab is not toggled to Grassroots, the drop-down menus in the plan will not provide you with the correct information. If it is submitted in this format, you will be receiving a revision request message from your peer leader. Take a moment when preparing this slide to toggle this to Grassroots blue side. Last comment on the planning tool. We have all created and saved a plan but couldn't find it or return to the Learning Center planning tool. Don't worry, it's usually not lost. Take a step backwards. When saving, make sure you give your assignment a name that you could easily remember when you're looking for it again. If you still can't find it, hover over the words at the top, Where's My Content? Click on it, and you will receive a short message on where to look. Another area to look for it is in Show Nested Content. Check the Yes box, and more often than not, this is where your work now lives. I can't answer why, we just know that this is where it could end up. And finally, please remember to click the Save and Exit each time you take a break. Your work will not save automatically. We are aware that this course will take a lot of your time and can seem to be mentally challenging. Don't worry, your peer leader's role is to help guide you through this process. Before you begin the course, here are a few items to plan ahead for. You must be working with a team during the course and have the ability to train them during the development period. Usually a team that is no older than high school works the best, but coaches have pulled it off with college players. It's important to have a good relationship with the parents, as you will need to have them participate in a parent meeting. In today's digital world, this may seem automatic, but the candidate must have regular access to the internet since much of this course is completed within the Learning Center. Google Chrome has shown to work best when completing the assignments. Understanding the planning tool. Creating lesson plans in a new format is rarely easy and will take practice. As soon as you register for the course, it would behoove you to begin practicing to learn how to make fields, insert players, and add lines for movement, dribbling, and passing. Remember to use the Learn to Use the Planning tool to answer most questions. Once you have gotten the hang of creating plans, It's pretty awesome when you see something that you created come to life on the field. To help keep the candidates on track, each peer leader will host 2 webinars with their peer group, one with their full group and one with you and your course partner. The partner webinar can also be in the form of a conference call with the candidate and their peer partner. Email communication will be sent and received through the Communication tab in the Learning Center. Since there may be 24 or as many as 48 candidates in any given course, it helps to keep all communication chains in one place. The schedule and time commitment is similar to meeting 1. Remember, participation is still mandatory. Each of you will present your assignment 1.2 Personal Development Plan to the group, which will be completed and submitted during the development period. You will each also conduct 2 phases of a training session on the field, which you will have to create during the development period and submit as assignment 3.3. You will also be assessed on this session by the peer group leader based on the profile of a grassroots coach and the 5 elements of a practice session. Much of the information for meeting 2 will become more clear after meeting 1 and through the development period. Following meeting 2, you will each have 2 weeks to complete all work which is still in revision request. This could be one assignment which has not been graded as satisfactory or more. You are encouraged to stay diligent with all assignments, and when one is placed in revision request, make edits sooner rather than later than resubmit. We hope the work doesn't pile up and you're trying not to complete all edits in a limited amount of time. Having said that, as long as it has been graded as satisfactory within that 2-week period, you are in good standing with the course. The later in this period you take to resubmit an assignment, the less time you will have to make any additional edits within that period. You are all encouraged to continue using the Learning Center for communication during this period, as well as updates to your status after the agreed upon time for peer leaders to review final work and provide grading. Thank you very much for attending this U.S. Soccer Grassroots D-License Preparation webinar. If you should have any questions or comments, do not hesitate to reach out to any of our staff. And we look forward to working with you at a grassroots course soon.